So basically Mary Anning was born on the site of what is now the museum, and she was born in 1799. And when the land was purchased for the museum, nobody had any idea that actually that is where Mary Anning had lived. And it wasn't really discovered until about 1987, and it was basically when this turned up as part of a collection, and it had an annotation on it that said the Anning House, and it was dated 1842, and it said Cottonwall Square. And basically Cottonwall is the old West Country name for a prison, and the prison, which we know was actually where the Guildhall is, just right there where that blue plaque is. And so it basically wouldn't have been the most desirable places to live. Not like now where you know it's really expensive to live on the seafront. In those days it was the opposite way around. If you were poor, you lived on the seafront. If you had lots of money, you bought a big house on the hill. Nobody really knows why the Anning family moved to this house, or why they moved to Lyme, because they weren't from here originally. Mary Anning Senior was from Blandford Forum, which is about 30 miles east, and Richard Anning was from Collerton or Collyford, which is probably about 15 miles west of Lyme. So it was quite an unusual choice for them to live. And the only thing that we've come to the assumption is that was because in the 1790s in Lyme there'd been a really sharp rise in tourism, and obviously he was a carpenter, so it would have been a lot more work for him working on these new houses that were all being built to accommodate the tourists. So you must have seen this drawing before, probably. Yeah?
Not that picture.
Oh right, okay. So this is the Anning's house as we know it. This we think was Richard Anning's workshop. There's various descriptions of how he used to have his workshop window open all the time, and then he'd display the fossils that he'd found on the beach on a little round table outside the workshop. And the first fossils that are being sold are really just like ammonites and things like that, and they were just sold as curiosities. It wasn't obviously until the discovery of the ichthyosaur that really they had any idea what they were dealing with. I don't know if you know, there's a story about how on one occasion they had to climb out through a first floor window, and we think nobody really knows if that story is true, but if it is, it's more than likely that it happened in 1824. Basically during that year there was a really big storm, and the Cobb Harbour, which is the seawall, was partially destroyed, so a lot of the waves would have come in this way, and this is the line of the original seawall. So it would have been quite exposed to the sea, obviously, where the house was. So you can see how the waves would have come up and over and flooded the house. So a good incentive to move away from the seafront.